Hey, welcome to the Ready to Lose podcast, where we look at what's going on in our brains to create the health and weight loss that we want. My name's Billy Blake, and I'm a certified life and weight loss coach determined to help women love themselves all the way to their goal. It's time to start losing weight in a way that actually feels like us and creating that healthy life that we love showing up for every single day. So tell me, are you ready to lose? Let's go.
Hello, and welcome back to the Ready to Lose podcast, where we are done with dieting and still losing weight. Heck yeah! So welcome to the second week of October, y'all. Now we officially have less than 3 full months of 2025. So I have got to, before we even get into this episode, I've got to offer y'all to join us inside Ready to Lose coaching. Not only could you start 2026 already making progress towards your goals, like so many of our clients are doing, but you can also have the support and accountability to start changing those holiday habits that keep getting in your way. Let's be honest. Not only would it be nice to start losing weight way before anybody else has even started recommitting to their health goals, but also it feels great to not have gained any weight during the holidays, okay? I know for me, every year I was gaining weight during the holidays, and starting January, feeling like I was already behind, feeling like I had messed up and had so much work left ahead of me. Yeah, what if you could get through the holidays not having gained weight, maybe even losing weight? Because if you're new and you haven't heard my story yet, when I finally lost weight, I did it over 3 months, and it was during the holiday season. I started in September, and so by Halloween, I was 2 months in and down almost 10 pounds. Then in November and December, I lost another 5 and kept it off, even with Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, my family's Christmas, Mike's family, Mike, my husband, his family's Christmas celebration, Christmas with my extended family in Texas. And I wasn't, in the corner eating vegetables by myself, because nobody wants to spend the holidays doing that. I was eating foods I enjoy. I was eating the foods that I was excited to have during the holidays. But I was using the Ready For habits to eat them in a way that felt good and supportive and helped me lose weight or maintain through that holiday season through any parties that I went to. So if you're ready to lose weight and feel confident this holiday season, sign up for a free session and let's get you started. Now, let's get into today's topic, which is consistency. You know that we teach 4 habits for weight loss here at Ready to Lose. And if you don't know this yet, that's okay. Grab your free Get Started guide with the link in the show notes of this episode, where I will teach them to you. I will teach you the 4 habits that I use, that our clients use, to lose weight and keep it off. If you've dieted in the past, calorie counting, Weight Watchers, points, green zone, red zone, whatever, these habits are very different than that. If you've ever downloaded a workout plan or a meal plan from Pinterest or an influencer on Instagram, these habits will be very different than that. They are very simple, and that is why they work. So get your free guide. I'll teach you the 4 habits that help me to lose weight, even over the holidays. Pause. Go grab it now. Like I said, it's going to have you thinking about weight loss in a whole different way. Because there's only 4 habits we use. But if I had to give you one extra secret ingredient to weight loss, like a secret habit, except it's not a habit, but if you want to be successful, that extra secret thing would be consistency, aka time. Time spent doing your habits, showing up whether you give 20% or 100%. There's that graphic and quote that always goes around where it says on the days you have 20% and you gave 20%, you actually gave 100%. And that is so freaking true. Good to remind ourselves that our ability will change through different seasons of life, through the different things going on in our lives, and that is okay. It really puts your effort and consistency into perspective and allows us to avoid that guilt or shame for not being 100% energized and excited every day like little Energizer Bunny robots, okay? I love that quote, but also I think it's okay to not give 100% of what you have every day. So on a day you have 20% and you give 10%, hey, that counts too. The trap that we fall into is that if we aren't doing the most or giving it our all, then it's not good enough. So your goal might be to become someone who goes to the gym for an hour 5 times a week, but if you have a day where you are busy and you don't have a full hour to spend on the gym, should you just toss it all out the window? Or could you show up for that 15 minutes and just do something? Exercise that habit just a little. Just like we exercise our muscles, you want to exercise your habits. It doesn't always have to be a PR. Every time you do a squat, you don't have to be maxing out, doing better than the last time. That's not how it works. Some days, me during my luteal phase, I will just be doing lightweight, sometimes even body weight. But hey, I'm exercising that muscle a little. The same is true for your habits. You don't have to be doing the most, doing it perfect every time. Showing up for it is exercising that habit. It builds that habit a little stronger. On one of our Ready to Lose coaching calls, we just were talking about this because this client has a story that her workouts would be better in the afternoon. And she has evidence too. She's like, in the afternoon, I am stronger. I'm more awake. I have more energy in the tank because I've been eating and hydrated during the day. But the problem is that just doesn't fit into her day right now. So if it doesn't happen in the morning, chances are it's getting pushed aside in the afternoon. And so we had this talk. I'm like, okay, yeah, it might be true that your workout might be way better in the afternoon, but that's not why we're doing it. Not every workout needs to be a PR, especially because for her, that's not her goal. Her goal is to do it because it helps her feel focused during the day. It helps regulate her blood sugars during the day. She has type 1 diabetes, so extra important for her, right? She knows that it sets her up, supports her throughout the day, and she already starts the day feeling accomplished, which then also impacts how focused and productive she is the rest of her day. She does it for her mental health as well as her physical health. Another way I see people falling into this perfection trap is with food. I cannot tell you how many times I've worked through this with clients. They keep not planning, especially on the weekends. Okay, this is always happening on the weekends. They keep not planning on the weekends because on the weekend, they like to go out for brunch or they go to a cafe or they have plans to get dinner with friends. They're social, which is great, right? That's what all of us really want, is to go out, feel confident, being social. Anyway, they have those plans and they think, well, I can't put a latte and a pastry on my plan if I want to lose weight. So they don't plan at all. And not only did they have the pastry and coffee, which again is totally freaking fine and can be on your food plan if you use the Ready to Lose habits. But anyway, they don't write a plan. They have that anyway. And since they didn't plan or they feel like they already messed it up, maybe they actually get 2 pastries and then get some takeout for dinner and then say, F it, today's messed up. So they also have ice cream before bed, even though they're still full from dinner, right? And then they have a food hangover on Sunday. So that entire day goes out the window too. Okay, I know some of y'all have done this. So what if you could write a not Pinterest-worthy meal plan, not Instagram fitness influencer-worthy meal plan on Saturday, enjoy your pastry, and avoid a spiral that takes up your entire weekend? Basically, there's this myth, right, that you have to be perfect, be doing the most for it to be worth it, to be enough. When the truth is that consistency is better than intensity. So intensity is usually sexier, more exciting to hear about. Yes, it is exciting when you can tell your friends that you were at the gym for an hour and you had the best workout of your life and people were coming up to you asking what you were doing because you were just so intense there. They just loved it. That sounds really great versus saying, I went and I walked on the treadmill for 15 minutes because I had a hectic day. Okay? Yes, the hour sounds way better, but the 15 minutes that happens is always better than the hour that you think you should do. I'm going to say that again for y'all. Really hear me when I say this. The 15 minutes that you will do, that you can show up for, is always better than the hour that you think you should do, but never happens, okay? Or happens once a month when you have that perfect day that aligns and you happen to have all this time. Here's another example. Yes, it would be impressive to tell your friends that you only ate meal prep all weekend and you avoided spending extra money, consuming things that didn't fuel your body. But if that is only happening 5 weekends out of the 52 weeks of the year, does it really matter? What about all the decisions being left on the table the other 47 weekends because you had a social and you couldn't eat perfectly clean? Not only does intensity sound better when we're talking to other people, but your brain is also designed to love exciting crap like that. Like it just loves all or nothing thinking, being perfect or being a failure, making the best decisions ever, or just saying F it. It really doesn't like the messy in-between of eating healthy while also having sweets and treats. You have got to be strict with yourself about being consistent, especially when everything in you is wanting you to go hard or give up altogether. If you want to fight for perfection, try to be perfectly consistent, which again is not being perfect every day, but showing up every day. Here are some ways you can be serious about consistency to help you make progress with your habits. Yes, even during these last 3 months of the year. Yes, even during the holidays. So imagine if you spend the next 3 months building consistency, even with parties and fun food around, guys, January is going to feel like a breeze. It will feel easy peasy. Okay, so here's how you're going to do this. Disclaimer before we get into these, I'm going to give you a few different options to help you build consistency. If you want to make the most of this episode, do not fall into all or nothing thinking. Okay, this is the theme here. Do not fall into all or nothing thinking with these tips. Pick one to try, and you can add more later. The perk of consistency is now you do have time. You can give yourself the time to make progress and evolve your habits instead of having to go so hard all at once because you never know when you're going to fall off and never get back on. We're consistent now. So you're going to have time to practice these. So you do not need to do them all, start them all this week, do them all perfectly. Okay? Now, our first consistency hack is minimum baselines. Minimum baselines for your habits. You have probably heard me talk about this concept before, but as a refresher, this is the practice of setting a minimum bar for how much you commit to showing up for each week. It works on your 100% weeks and your 20% weeks. This is how I went from not going to the gym at all to now being someone who goes 45 minutes to an hour almost every day. At least 5 days a week. And in fact, on the days I do not go, I struggle to know what to do with my day. I now have a routine where I go for a walk with my dogs or do something because I feel lost if I'm not going to the gym in the morning. So yes, I am one of those people now. I did not used to be. Okay. But how I did that was with minimum baselines. So what that looked like for me was I would go 3 times a week for 10 to 15 minutes and I held myself to it. After being consistent for a few weeks, I moved that bar up a little. But I had to prove that I was consistent with that minimum amount first. I was not allowed to jump up to 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week all at once. In a way, instead of being strict with like doing the most for it to be good enough, I was strict with, hey, if I'm not proving that I can do this 3 times a week, I don't get to raise that bar to 4 times a week yet. That is a different way to be strict with yourself. Be strict that you're committed to showing up for the minimum amount before you try to overwhelm yourself with more. So I made myself do that consistently for a couple weeks. Then I moved that bar up to 4 times a week, then 5, then 6, still having that minimum time limit of 10 to 15 minutes. And yes, this takes time. You know, we all want to jump into doing more. We want to eat all the healthier foods right away. We want to be doing the most exercise right away. It's exciting to do that. This almost feels like it takes too much time. Like if I told you you had to go 3 times a week, or if you're not doing anything right now, maybe I said you commit to 1 time a week for 2 weeks. You would probably feel like that's too slow. But if you do that for 2 weeks, then you level up to 2 times a week, then 3, and you do that like every 2 to 3 weeks, it actually does not take that much time. And this really did build me up to being someone who was going almost every day at one point in my journey. So again, why this works. It's easy to talk yourself out of going if you don't have enough time. If I don't have an hour, well, then I guess I can't go at all. Or if you don't have enough energy, oh, it was a really hard day, I don't really think I can go to the gym for that long. Or whatever it is, especially when you start building a habit. Like it makes sense when you hear it, and yet no one is really telling us this. And when you start a new program, they're usually telling you the opposite. But when you start building a habit, of course, you're going to struggle to make time for it. You are living your days right now not going to the gym, if this is you, right? If you're not going to the gym at all, every day you're used to not going to the gym. But your day is full of stuff, isn't it? You're not sitting around thinking about how bored you are and you wish you had something to do. Like maybe that happens once in a while, but most of us are good at filling our days with stuff. You have a day right now that's filled with stuff. Even if some of that is watching TV or scrolling your phone, you're used to doing that though. It's not like you're sitting on your couch staring off into space wondering what you're going to do. So most of us have full days. And if you're going to add in something new, of course it's hard to make time for it. Even if your day is filled with watching TV, you're used to watching TV, okay? You're going to miss that TV time if you start going to the gym. It's going to feel hard. And if you asked any person, any random person on the street to start carving out an extra hour of their day for a new activity, they would probably struggle with it. But it's easier to make 15 minutes to do something new, okay? So 15 minutes, it's still going to feel a little tricky, hard, not normal, but it's easier to fit in 15 minutes than a whole hour, especially if you're going to the gym. Because yeah, I was working out for 15 minutes, but I had to drive to and from the gym. That was 15 minutes each way. So I could do this 15-minute commitment in less than an hour. But if I was trying to work out for an hour, that'd be an hour and a half plus if I had to change or do anything at the locker room. And on top of that, I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to carving out that time in my day yet. It also works because it gets you in the door and builds the habit. Remember earlier, we were talking about exercising our habits like muscles. So some days I did stay longer once I was at the gym. It really is funny that the heaviest weight is always the door to the gym. It's always that front door. It is so hard to get yourself in there. So getting yourself in there and signing in and walking into the weight room or to the treadmill or whatever it is, that practice is exercising that habit, exercising it like a muscle. It's now easier to open that door and get yourself in there consistently. So some days I would do more. Once I was in there, I would stay for 45 minutes. But on other days, I still only did the 15 minutes and I would let myself leave. No, I did not win any awards for the most impressive workout. I bet people there even judged me. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they judged me. It doesn't matter if anyone saw me doing that, if it didn't feel like it was good enough, because now I'm someone who works out all the time and I love it. I built the habit of going to the gym and I built it in a way that I could keep building upon. So yeah, maybe I only stayed 15 minutes, but I went. I'm building that habit of being someone who goes to the gym instead of being someone who's used to not going to the gym. A lot of you are practicing the habit of talking yourself out of going to the gym right now. I'm practicing being someone who's used to going to the gym. It's in her week, even if it's just a little bit of time. You can set minimums like this for any habit, but you want it to be something that you can still show up for on your worst day, because even with these minimum baselines, I cannot tell you how many times I have been coaching. I can see it. I can see it when I'm working with someone and I'm talking to them about minimum baselines and they're loving it. They're like, yes, this is going to help me so much. We're talking through what they're going to do. They decide to set one and I can see it on their face that they still want it to be higher. They can't set it low. It's really hard to do this actually. Everything in your body wants to fight against it. So they will commit usually to a half hour. A half hour is like the minimum that most people are like, okay, that seems like enough. But I'll prompt them to set it lower. Like, what about 15 to 20 minutes? Because they feel like they're lowering the bar from like an hour to a half hour, but they still feel that it needs to be at least 30 minutes to be worth it or to be effective. And it really doesn't, y'all. 15 minutes is more than enough. So yeah, I will often push people to set lower ones than they want because then they struggle to fit in the half hour. Because again, carving out a half hour in your day when your day is already full is hard to do. So yes, you want it to be something you can still show up for on your worst day, which is why I do often pressure people to lower it. I talk them through it, make sure they're really sure about their commitment because they usually want to go higher than they should. Make it something that you can show up for on your worst day because those days are coming, y'all. Knock on wood. Your worst days are not coming, but the tough days are going to be there. I don't care how motivated or excited you feel when you do recommit, when you get started with something. That is great. And it is great to feed off of that energy. But you're still a human living the same life. Work will get stressful. You will experience PMS. Your kids will have tons of events in 1 week, everything happening all at the same time. I know I have those weeks and it's just me and my husband. Let your minimum baseline support you even on those hard days, even on the days where it feels like you don't have a lot of time. And just watch yourself build consistency that actually sticks. The second consistency hack is for anyone who does get sucked into that perfectionist thinking, no matter how hard they try, no matter how many self-development books you read or podcast episodes you listen to, you know that you've got to keep going and not beat yourself up, but it keeps happening. Okay, this tip is for you. It is the 4 quarters method. This method was coined by productivity expert Gretchen Rubin. The 4 quarters method, it's based on the idea of compartmentalizing setbacks, okay? So that if you have a mistake or a mess up or you're in a bad mood or whatever, something negative happens in one part of your day, it doesn't have to ruin the entire day. So you split up the day into quarters. And if you have a bad quarter, you can then accept it and start fresh with the next one. It's all or nothing thinking, but it's not making it an entire day of all or nothing. It prevents that all or nothing that causes us to give up on something because we had a minor slip up during the day. Another way I like to think about it is, what decisions can I make next? But thinking about it with your morning or afternoon as a whole. Maybe this morning wasn't great. I slept in or I didn't, get my workout like I wanted to. Okay, but if I was going to have a good afternoon, and get a little closer to my goal, what would I do? Maybe I didn't get my workout in, but I could go for a walk this afternoon. Or let's say you woke up today and your morning got away from you and you didn't write a food plan, one of our Ready For habits. So if you were going to reassess, okay, what can I do this afternoon to get a little closer? Maybe you'd sit down and write a food plan in the afternoon, even though you forgot in the rush of your morning. So you do it now so you can make some intentional food choices for the rest of your day. This is a big one with planning. I try to encourage everyone all the time, reminders. You can write a plan at any time. You could do it right now, listening to this episode. If it's middle of the day, your lunch break, you're like, oh, I didn't do that. You can do it now. Do it now for the rest of your day. You still have maybe your lunch, snack, dinner, after dinner snack, plan it out. You could have some intentional food choices for the rest of your day instead of just saying F it and not having any at all. So that's that second one, is using that 4 quarters method, or whether you do it like half day methods, whatever. It's just this practice of reassessing and viewing the next few hours as a blank slate that you can make the most of. Make some decisions with. If you were going to have a good afternoon, what would that look like? Okay, maybe your afternoon was crap. If you're going to have a good evening, what does that look like? From now, when you get home from work and go to bed, what would that look like? What could you do to get a little closer during that quarter? And our third hack is to adopt an identity-first mindset. Don't just focus on what you want to do, actions, what I want to do, how I want to do it, okay? That's one piece of it, but I want you to focus on who you want to become. We talk about this all the time here on the podcast, but pick a habit that you'd like to use this for during the week. So if you want to exercise more, don't think, I am going to the gym 5 times for 30 minutes this week. Yes, that's what you're doing, but you want the thought to be, I'm someone who moves her body every day, or I'm someone who goes to the gym each week, or I'm a gym girly. Every action you take when you show up to that workout, in this case, it is a vote towards that identity. The same is true for eating differently. The habit might be, I eat my meals without distractions, but the identity is, I'm someone who loves listening to her body. I like spending time with myself. This is how I do that. This type of thought is going to get your brain constantly searching for ways to fulfill this identity. This takes you out of just being perfect with a goal and instead taking on this identity that allows you to actually be more consistent throughout the day, throughout the week, no matter what it looks like. Every day, there are so many decisions that version of you, if that's true, if you're someone who loves to move your body every day, if you're someone who loves eating healthy food, there are so many decisions that version of you would make. And every time you make one of those, you're adding to the evidence that that is who you are. I know we're really going hard with the exercise examples this episode, but this is a tool I did use for myself, for my thoughts about exercise. And it really did help me to be consistent. I really paired this with the minimum baselines. So when I was doing my 3 times a week for 15 minutes, I would tell myself that I was a gym girly. That was my thing. I'm a gym girly. I always wanted to be one, right? I always wanted to be a gym girly. And so when I went, even if it was just for 15 minutes, I'd say, I'm a gym girly. I wanted to be that person who was going consistently, who knew what she was doing at the gym, who like other people at the gym maybe even looked at and recognized as being like one of them, talk to them, whatever. I don't love when people yap my ear off when I'm at the gym, but I do have those connections now where I see the same people at the gym. We like recognize each other. We give each other little nods, or once in a while we say hi, whatever. But that's who I really wanted to be. Being like one of them, someone who belonged to the gym. So every time I went, like I said, even if it was just the 15 minutes on my drive home, I would tell myself over and over again that I was a gym girly. Heck yes, I got to the gym today just like a gym girly would. Then I kind of leveled up that identity to another level. And for me, that was, I didn't want to be just someone who went to the gym a few times a week. I wanted to become someone who moved her body every day. So when I went to the gym, when I went for a walk, when I stretched, did some yard work, anything, I would tell myself that I'm a girl who moved her body every day. I would even ask myself that in the morning. This one was great for the mornings because I would ask that question, like, as someone who moves her body every day, what are we doing today? What does that look like? And if I was busy, I couldn't make it to the gym, it was a walk, right? Or it was stretching, whatever it was. Then I took that identity to the next level when I started being more consistent with moving my body, feeling a lot more confident, and that's who I was, going to the gym more, all of those things. I started telling myself, hey, actually, I'm a strong woman. I am strong AF. I'm like one of the strongest women I know. Okay, so every time I pushed myself a little harder with my weights, or I could do a couple more push-ups than last time, that was evidence that I'm a strong woman. And I would use that again during my workouts. Okay, yeah, increasing weight for my chest press, that felt kind of hard, but you know what? I'm a strong girl. I'm a strong woman. I can do it. It changed my mindset while I was working out, and it just built upon itself. The more I kept telling myself stuff like that while I was working out, I would find ways to be that strong person or to be that person who moved my body every day. And then I also became more confident with it because I was finding more and more evidence that that was true. Then I unintentionally leveled up again. I was posting about my workouts on Instagram like a strong gym girly would, and a follower messaged me. I don't even know if she was a follower. She might have been just some random person who found my account, but she messaged me asking if I was a fitness freak. And I thought about it and I said, you know what? Why not? I'm a fitness freak. Add it to the list. Now, I don't really identify as a fitness freak so much, but it was fun to play around with. But I'm just good with being a strong gym girly, moving her body every day. That's who I am. But maybe someday I will level up to that fitness freak status. Who knows? Who knows? So think about what that identity could be for you. If you're someone who eats healthy foods, I'll give you a food example to take a break with the exercise. But I remember one of my first clients, this really clicked for her when she looked in her fridge and she did have more vegetables and fruits in there. She was like, I'm someone who eats healthy. And it kind of felt surprising because, when you level up your habits the way we do in Ready to Lose, it's very gradual. You don't always realize how much of a change you've made. But that's kind of the best because you don't feel like you're white knuckling or struggling through it. It's just natural to you. So she had this moment where she looked in the fridge and she saw vegetables, she saw fruits, and she told me on our call, she goes, I'm someone who eats healthy. I'm a healthy eater. I can see it. Yes, it was happening with her meal plans, but even just looking in her fridge and seeing that, of course, that added to that identity that she really wanted, right? So it hits you on those two levels. One, that impacts then how she eats. When she's grocery shopping, she's like, oh yeah, I do want to add in more vegetables. I want to be someone who eats more fruits and vegetables. Adding those in on the grocery list. And then when she sees it in her fridge, she's like, oh yeah, that's who I am now. It is so freaking awesome to use this identity strategy and see it happening. That's our third one, but I do have one last bonus strategy that you can use right now, and that is to plan ahead. For all of these strategies, this kind of goes along with them. It goes along with all of our Ready to Lose habits. You want to plan ahead. It is easier to be consistent when you have a plan and you give yourself the tools you need to be consistent. That is why one of our Ready to Lose habits is planning. It is hard to make new choices around food when you don't actually make a plan for how you're going to make those new choices with food. If you don't plan, you're more likely to stay in your old habits. But you can plan more than your food. Like with that identity shift, when I was a woman who was moving her body every day, I would plan my day that way. I'd plan out my movement. Okay, how am I going to move my body today? I would plan it out so I knew when it was happening. That's actually one that did come up with that client earlier when she was talking about afternoon workouts being better than the morning. She's like, I really want to get up in the morning though. I want to do that in the morning. I just keep not doing it. And I'm like, well, that's because you kind of didn't really decide it. Yes, you wanted to, but she still had this thought, like maybe I'll do it in the afternoon. Even something as simple as that, having that decision made, am I doing it in the morning versus the afternoon and when, probably she would have shown up for it. So we did do that in our coaching, but it's really important to make that plan. When we practice our hunger signals in Ready to Lose coaching, we plan out specifically how we're going to do that so we don't miss it. So we don't get through the day and think, oh my gosh, I just didn't do that again. You have years of established habits with food. So give yourself the gift of planning so you have a chance of changing them. Habits are habitual. We don't think about them. So if you don't have a plan, if you don't make a decision, you're just going to go through your day. Oh, you know how it gets. You get into kind of survival mode. You're just trying to get through. And all of a sudden the day ends and you're like, I didn't do any of the things that I've been wanting to try or do differently. So give yourself the gift of planning so you have a chance of changing those habits. And especially with changing your relationship with food. Because if you started dieting in high school or college, or if you had a mom who dieted and had rules around food, or, the TV media that we watched growing up, like, hello, America's Next Top Model, it really is mind-blowing. No wonder we're judging our bodies so much. Whether it's that, or you had a parent who really loves sweet treats at night. Okay, you had those things growing up, and now you're 30, 40, 50, whatever age you are, probably more than half of your life, at least has been spent building old food habits, old thoughts about yourself and your body, old ways of trying to lose weight. On a coaching call recently, this client and I were working through some cravings, and these cravings started for her when she was 12. A certain food was withheld from her and her family. It was actually not dieting related. It was actually due to a health condition for another family member. They couldn't eat a certain food, and so nobody ate it. That certain food has felt like it's been controlling her ever since. She is in her 60s, I believe now. Okay, so like 50 years of this food feeling like it has been controlling her. And planning was one of the tools that helped her, one, finally realize what was going on, and then two, change it. Change that habit, change that relationship with that food. So if you want to be more consistent, try one of these hacks this week. Commit to being someone who is consistent and persistent, okay? That is way more effective than being someone who is perfect. Continue showing up for your goals even when it feels like it's not good enough. Because consistency will change your life. Not the perfect week, not the 30-day all-in challenge, but those small, imperfect, consistent choices that you keep showing up for. And if you're ready to stop starting over and actually feel confident and in control, especially going into the holidays, this is your sign to sign up for a free session. Inside Ready to Lose Coaching, we'll build your version of consistency so you can enjoy the food you love, feel good in your body, and actually see the scale start moving. You don't have to wait for January. Imagine walking into 2026 already feeling lighter, stronger, proud of yourself because you started now. So click the link in the show notes to book your free session and let's get you going. And until next week, remember, you've totally got this, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!
Thank you for taking time today to listen in. If this helped you at all, be sure to share it with a friend so she can stop feeling stuck and start creating the health and self-love she deserves. Or post it to social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me get the message out. I am so excited to be on this journey with you. Keep showing up for you. You'll get there. Talk to you soon.